Hi, it's Outlaw Bookseller again, and we're doing another Shelfie here in the hideout, so you can see what kind of thing I'm into. And this is one of what I call my interesting shelves. I have 3 interesting shelves, and the actual shelf itself, made of black wood, was a spare from a bookshop I worked in back in 1987, 1988, and it's still very strong. So let's have a look what's on this shelf. I'll just zoom in. I'm using a small handheld Nikon again. And here we are. On the immediate left, we have some lovely American vintage trade paperbacks of the works of Samuel R. Delany. These really are really beautiful. These are the US editions, as I say, and there's a few of them there. These are books that I have, in most cases, if I can get this one back into the bookend without damaging it. There we go. The dust on that, terrible. And those books I have in various editions, but those are just also beautiful. I had to get the set. And there's his early trilogy, Fall of the Towers, some short novels, Nova, the collection I and Gomorrah. That's one of my favourite science fiction stories of all time, the titular story. And The Great Dahlgren, of course, which, with its circular structure, inspired parts of Alan Moore's Watchmen, at least structurally. Then we have, there's a couple of Philip K. Dick paperbacks there, American vintage paperback, The World Jones Made, one of the early ones, and The Shifting Realities of Philip K. Dick, the selected literary and philosophical writings, edited by Lawrence Sutin, who wrote the very best biography of Dick, the first one. And I would say get hold of this if you can, because it's got some interesting stuff in it. And I'm not a massive fan of Dick's philosophical writings and religious writings, but what it does have in there, I seem to recall, is the, let's just check, the extant version, if I can find the right page. Let's just see. I believe that it's got, find the right page, if I do this properly, it might help. Let's see. Yes, part 3, works related to Man in the High Castle and its proposed sequel. So there's some bits there, and 2 completed chapters of a sequel to Man in the High Castle, which never happened. Well, there we go. So that's of great interest to any Dick fan. Now, next to that, I'm sliding in, is one of my favourite books. I'm going to just zoom around on the side there. My favourite book, in fact, by Philip Jose Farmer, the great adventure writer, an SF writer. Produced some hack work, but he often had some amazing ideas. And Farmer's great strength was really in pastiche and in covering other people's work and turning it upside down. And this is part of the Wold-Newton sequence, which are my favourite books by Farmer, a very loose sequence of stories and novellas, and this is called A Feast Unknown. This is the Titan edition from a few years ago. These sadly weren't promoted very well, and they were widely remained. You could get them really cheap in branches of Forbidden Planet, and I really recommend this. It was originally published by Essex House, a publisher who specialised in pornographic SF, and it is quite strange. It's a very strange book, and that's why I love it. If you can imagine, this is the basic plot. Tarzan and Doc Savage exist. Their father was Jack the Ripper, and they're afflicted by a strange sadistic sexual urge. Well, I'll leave the rest to your imagination. There are 2 sequels which are anemic by comparison. It's a great book, very irreverent, looks what's at the skull beneath the skin of that sort of heroic fantasy. I'll just twist the camera back around again, go up a little bit there. There's a few Anna Kavan novels and collections, one of my favourites, great writer Anna Kavan, still woefully obscure, though Ice seems to be getting a life of its own again now. Moving downward, Pat Frank, The Last Babylon, one of the great post-apocalyptic novels of the 50s. John Gardner's Grendel, which you can get in a fantasy masterwork. This is the American import I bought about 10-12 years ago. And that's a fabulation about the fiend Grendel from Beowulf, and he has discussions with an existentialist dragon, that sort of thing. So it's, you know, it's highbrow American fabulist fantasy for postmodern intellectuals. There you go, just the thing. Next to that, great collection by one of my favourite writers of all time. I'm struggling to get it, so I'll just pop that Grendel down there. And this is M. John Harrison's You Should Come With Me Now. This is a great collection. I did an event with Mike for this at the bookshop I work in a few years ago, and it was great to see him because it'd been a very long time. And it's mostly very short stuff, flash fiction, I think you call it. I don't really like that term. But with Mike, it's always something very special, and that's a first paperback there. Brave New World. Next to that, it's just not happening with this John Gardner book at all, is it? So it's I'm going to put them both down there out of the way. Brave New World. Great dystopian novel, State of Denmark by Derek Raymond, there in the Masque Noir imprint of Serpent's Tail. That's quite old. I've had that for about 25 years, I think. And Derek Raymond, aka Robin Cook, there are a number of Robin Cooks who were writers, and this one was a crime writer. He wrote the Factory novels, which are fantastic, very, very dark existentialist crime novels. And this is a near-future dystopia, really, really good science fiction novel. It's barely SF, it's only politically SF, it's really, really good. So pick that up, you can see it. It is still in print, different jacket. Zooming up a bit there, and we have, let's see, there's William Burroughs' Blade Runner, a movie. Nothing to do, of course, with the film Blade Runner, because that is actually Burroughs' screen treatment for a film that was never made. He took the screen treatment and he wrote it around a novel by Alan E. Nourse, who was a doctor and science fiction writer, from a novel called Blade Runner. And if you watch the Philip K. Dick adaptation, Blade Runner by Ridley Scott, in the credits it says, "Thank you to William S. Burroughs and Alan E. Nourse for our use of their title." Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's Alan Nourse's title. Howl by Allen Ginsberg, a Hermann Hesse there, a couple of Alfred Bester. Bester is one of my favourite writers, particularly the short fiction. I really love the short fiction. Moving down, and we've got Craig Key Street, The Bleeding Man, Whitley Strieber's The Hunger, one of my favourite vampire novels. He's a bit of a hack Strieber, but you know, there's a lot of emotion in that book. You can really feel it. Divided Kingdom by Rupert Thompson. That's an American import. Great dystopian novel. A writer who never repeats himself. He's got a new book out called Barcelona, which people are enjoying. Some Kurt Vonnegut. More Bester. And then I'm going to zip the camera around again and Susan Mikichanis, The Vampire Tapestry. One of my favourite vampire novels there. Some Harlan Ellison trades. Same again, Ursula Le Guin, the first three novels in the Hainish sequence, Worlds of Exile and Illusion, that's now available as a Golanc's masterwork. Jack London, Barry N. Malzberg, Michael Moorcock, C.L. Moore, Keith Roberts. I'm going to zoom up there a little bit, and there's some Colin Wilson. Colin's one of my favourite novelists. I really like his stuff, and a couple of Olympia Press softcore books there by Barry N. Malzberg, who I really absolutely love Barry's work. He's a great American SF writer. Everybody is always having sex in their books. They never enjoy it. It's grim and joyless, but he's just absolutely wonderful. Scanning along there. Little Penguin Burroughs short story there. Another obscure Colin Wilson. A bit of Christopher Priest. First edition of the musical edition of Clockwork Orange. Libretto by Anthony Burgess and Todd Haynes' screenplay for the wonderful glam rock science fiction film Velvet Goldmine. Moving down, we have to move quick because we're running out of time. I've got about 80 seconds left. You can see some nice Silverberg trades there. Colin Wilson again. Samuel L. Delany's Trouble on Triton, my favourite Delany. Some Ellison, more Farmer, more Malzberg, a bit of Kemnan, a few other things there. More Colin Wilson, Harlan Ellison, Craig Key Street again, we'll talk about again, Dave Hutchinson, and that is one of my interesting shelves. These books are mostly large format paperbacks. They're B format or larger. They're mostly American. A lot of SF there, but there's all sorts of other things. Again, giving you an idea of the many things that I'm into, and that's one of my interesting shelves. Thank you.